It's like a drug to me, I just love it.
The town of Ashbourne in Derbyshire is one of strong British pride. Flags and bunting fill the streets as tension builds. The calm before the storm for an unusual event, the World Toe Wrestling Championships. The sport was created back in 1974 after a group of Derbyshire locals were fed up with England's lack of sporting success.
Despite the optimism for national glory, a Canadian won the opening competition and the sport was scrapped until 1994 when the old rulebook was discovered by a pub landlord. And it was at those championships where a toe wrestling legend was born, 17-time world champion Alan Nasty Nash.
Alan is a king of the toadium, where competitors lock toes,
leg up,
raise legs, and call toes away. The aim of the game is to beat your opponent by wrestling their foot onto the toadium walls.
Ready? Here we go then.
The sport of toe wrestling may seem light-hearted, but Nasty's eccentric personality can unleash a darker side.
I've got people that actually I get on fantastic with, but if I meet them on the toadium, I forget who they are. Once I get to the final, then everything's gone and it's just pure aggression. My maddest experience in toe wrestling was in '97 when I broke 4 toes in the semi-final on my left foot. But I won the match and then I snapped him back in place. I got a bucket of ice and I soaked him in ice so my foot wouldn't swell up too much. And then I went back in for the final, took the guy out in seconds with my left foot and won the world title.
It's not just Alan's name that's embedded in the sport's legacy. There's a new wrestler on the block who's coming for Nasty's crown.
Unfortunately for you, stubby toes are good. That's where Ben comes in, he's got really wide toes.
I see toe wrestling as a sport, and if you said to somebody who was a UFC fighter, do you take your sport seriously, then I would say they'd probably punch you in the face.
Ben Woodruff won last year's championship, after which Alan retired from the sport. The shock result seemed to make a new era for toe wrestling, but Nasty had other ideas.
Mystery toe!
Miss Toby man.
Oh, mystery.
Who's the mystery Joey man?
Scared now?
Mystery.
You might have to go straight in. Oh no, I've just remembered. It's me!
He's making a comeback.
I thought he was retired.
The two giants walked their way through the competition, picking off challengers toe by toe, before facing off in the final.
Come on, Alan!
Ben won the match against his veteran opponent, but despite their rivalry on the toadium, the open nature of the sport is one thing they can agree on.
Best thing about toe wrestling is I can do it and I'm useless at every other sport. But toe wrestling is something that any man on the street can just walk in and become a world champion if he's good enough.
You can walk in this pub, where it's held now, come in for a pint, not expect to compete, end up competing and walk out world champion. What other sport can you do that with? None.